And I remember he had all these issues with his phone. Like his phone kept making noises, right? Every time we'd go to film, like of course nothing would happen while we're getting ready or going through something. As soon as we're actions called, James's phone would go off or make some noise every time. And then he had left. He wasn't there on the last day. So he leaves and we're all getting ready for a shot. And Matthew, of all people, like the Mr. like responsibility, his phone goes off and he looks, and it is so great. He says, "Oh, that's James. He just wanted to know if we'd started filming."
You should have seen you guys' faces. Phone rings. We finally got rid of the James, you're at the door. We love you. You did a great job. The phone problem's done. Literally, my phone rings then in the middle of the shot while we're filming, and everybody looks just livid. Like their face is just. And I'm like, I better come up with something quick. He wants to know if we're in the middle of a scene right now. Yes, we are.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh gosh. Matthew, being a huge Star Wars fan, sent me, he said, "I've been looking up Star Wars movies from other countries where they did cheap ripoffs of Star Wars movies."
This reminds me of my dream last night. Same music and everything.
So Matthew sent me these films. He's like, "Here, I found this Star Wars, this Star Wars, this Star Wars." And this was the Italian Star Wars. So that's what we always referred to it as, just the Italian Star Wars.
Warhead approaching Alderaan, sir.
This Italian director kept wanting to make it. So he made four, not only is this one have 4 titles, but he's made this movie 4 times. So he's made 4 Italian Star Warses.
Anyone else appreciating the sans serif font?
You being such a big Star Wars fan, when I gave you the live action script, I was kind of like, and you wrote back and said, "I love this. You never mentioned Star Wars."
I can't wait to get this party started.
Because it's you. I love giving you the line.
Like there was a movie called The No Mobile.
You bastard. I've been trying to convince Jeff that there's this movie called The No Mobile forever.
I wonder if your feelings on this matter are clear, young apprentice?
So what'd you think of Tom's Bagels?
Oh, good. He's gone. I didn't want him to know I took a bagel.
I love that because, like, you'd probably be kind of expecting one of the ladies to be Leia.
Jellyfish.
Whenever you see construction paper, that's like Dan quality.
Yeah, for real things, we go to Matthew.
Yeah, real things, it's Matthew. Construction paper, you go to Dan.
I get it. Our costumes? Dr. Zabor? It's all references to the movie.
Took some thread and just tied thread around. I'm like, okay, this is going to have to work.
So I like Tom adjusting them. It's like Tom made them out of what he found on the ground right there behind the wood stove, And so as he's talking, he's always just sort of moving them around, So I think that if we had overbuilt them and used a wire hanger, they would just snap onto his head and it would have looked overthought out.
Anything is better than Pete's burlap.
Oh, my burlap.
He does a full explanation of midichlorians too.
Yeah.
And does it, but all the sincerity in the world.
But I will say that it includes some microscopic organisms that live in our blood and control the fate of the universe.
I'm like, he has no idea what he's referencing, and he's doing it perfectly. It's just like...
And what's great about that is Shannon gets to say what every person alive is thinking.
That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. I mean, like a 5-year-old could think of a better idea.
Yeah, we had at that point in real life, I was about to open up a stove shop, and so being this crazy about rabbit ears, I literally designed a real stove shop to have the same entrances and exits as the original set of rabbit ears, so that we could block correctly if we needed to film in there. And then I fixed up that stove shop to the point where the owners of the building loved it so much that they sold it for like $2 million. They're like, oh, the building's never looked this good before. Let's sell it. So then I told Jeff, like, they just sold the stove shop. We need to figure something else out. So we created that stove shop as it is, and put in all the doors and all the stuff that we needed.
Quickly, Shannon and Jennifer change into their space guy, which in reality is like a day and a half later, you know. But somehow they've changed immediately.
Oh, just come on.
God, I'm cold. Pete, can I borrow the burlap?
So,
Thank you.
are the alien dudes robots, or do they have superpowers, or...
Which ones?
Any of them, really.
Ta-da! I can't believe I let you talk me into this.
So that there must have been, even in that flash of a moment, a discussion, a negotiation must have taken place, because it was like they walk off, they come on. I can't believe you talked me into this. Like, when did she even have time for the discussion part of it?
What can I say? I'm talented.
And then, of course, Zontar returns, although I don't think his name is actually Zontar.
Zontar.
I loved making its head move to react to things.
Yeah.
I think I was like lying on the ground. I think we took a moment because we had to like get my arm not in it.
I bet if there were a sequel, we'd get to see those two robots doing it.
Shane, who did the voice for Zontar, it was funny. I was like, oh, we got to call Shane. And I'm like, wait, he just says Zontar. We already have that in the can.
I bet I can get him to say something else.
Zontar?
Also, in this episode, he's backwards. I guess I wasn't there for that day. So
yes.
his a private joke that we had was that his butt says exit, so that's rotated, and so that's in the front now. So it just says exit on his crotch for some reason. So there you go.
So we've wasted enough time talking about the live action, and I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have to talk about this movie.
No. Abort mission. Abort mission.
Yep, that's how we feel.
I think this movie, by the way, sets the tone immediately before you even know what it's about or what's going on, by the fact that, and we make lots of jokes about this, but I've never seen another movie do this. It starts off saying starring in alphabetical order, and then none of it's in alphabetical order.
Yes. Fancy. I can't even get my phone to alphabetize by first name.
I guess it was too hard. They've moved on the last names. Okay, back to first name sorting. What the hell?
They just said alphabetical order. They just said it. And then they're not using it.
Story and screenplay by names in no particular order whatsoever.
I love the song. I love the song. I love to hate that song. Like, that song should be in everything. Everything that, like, it should be in every elevator. It should be, like, in everything. But anyway,
I think Tom makes a joke, something like that. He's like, I had a dream just like this. And the screen's almost entirely black. So having a dream like that is kind of very funny. Because I had a dream just like this. It had the music and everything. So basically, he just dreamt about that music. So it's for him, it's so much more significant.
I love the on a Dig Dug sound effect. There's hardly any writers on this one. And I feel bad because people really should have had to experience this.
I feel alone.
Cut! Can we please zoom in a little closer on the makeup job?
And I remember in Tahoe, just a side note, I remember we brought our own widescreen TV in there so we could all see it. And of course, hotel rooms already have TV sets in them.
This one had a little tiny one, yeah.
Yeah, that we chose not to use. So at the end of that session, we're loading a TV set out of the hotel room into our car when security came out, and they're like, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, this is our own TV that we brought into the hotel room, and they had to go check inside our room to make sure the TV was still in there. So
wow,
it was like that. Yeah.
I just did that. Did you see my clip? Did you see it? Did you see it?
I just found out that they're androids. And
I feel like the director had already written like a Ocean's 11 Italian Job type heist movie where you got to get your gang together, and then Star Wars came out, and so the studio came to, what do you got on deck that's a Star Wars movie? Yeah, no problem. And he like dusts off his Ocean 11.
It's like the ragtag team. They stole this from like every movie ever.
And he just put robots into it because it was, the entire thing was like, you think, okay, it's gonna be Star Wars, but there's no like Death Star type climactic battle. There's
128 tons of synthetic gold.
With inflation, that's about $2.75.
No real explanation of what's going on. It's essentially just building your crew the whole time, and it's very tedious, very difficult to know why they need a crew that big.
It's the Nutty Professor. He's hot.
And then with Ocean's 11, everybody has a duty. They all do something that's important. In this one, they just get like, oh, we need an acrobat.
Now, let's do some flips in a field.
Yippee golly gumdrops!
And 2 suicidal robots.
By the way, Tilly, I must have a splintered crystal in my memory bank.
I hate when that
can't remember
happens.
why we made a suicide pact.
You can't remember.
And like a half-dressed motorcycle chick.
Her wall is an alteration of Post-its and cheese.
And like, okay, well, what's your skill? Like, I don't know what your skill is. Like, I don't know.
Back to the lab then, and get on with it.
You actually made sense of something in this movie. That actually makes sense.
They're putting creamer in the coffee.
They're gonna kill us all.
Hit the dirt under cover. Keep your heads down, man.
I love the clip where it's like this dramatic look out the viewfinder and out.
Earth. Miggy's hair.
Like there's no, like it's such a bad pan. There's like nothing going on. There's
Same amount of value. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I am Zool.
What is going on?
Tom sat me down and had a talk with me and tried to explain to me the importance of what we were doing and the fact that we were curators of these films. Like we were now the protectors of these films in our own weird way. No one would ever see this again if it wasn't for us. And so it kind of makes me kind of happy because, the idea of someone went out to make a film, they had all these goals and they failed at every single one of those goals is truly epic and fun to witness. And people like would never see this if we didn't take the time to change its genre, I guess is a good way of saying it. So I'm glad we have it. I'm glad we have it.
I think that I disagree that there is merit to this film and that it's so, oh man, it is like horrifyingly racist and sexist.
Dear, these aliens have several centuries advantage over us.
Wow, that's
They
old.
travel out of
But he's talking to his niece and he's saying like, well, the white men defeated the Indians because they are superior, and like that's just the natural way of things, is that the superior race is going to have domination over. It's like, what?
And in all probability consider us savages. Hardly worth bothering about.
$10 says the table's going to collapse. He was calling her he was calling her inferior right before that too. He's like, you're inferior, so let me explain this to you.
Yeah.
Now you wander around and linger in the background.
Don't look at me, sir. I'd have to get an authorization, and I don't think Commander Barr would.
What's my motivation for walking behind this chair?
It was
And then the
bonkers.
robots do it.
Yeah, the robots do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, I was like, oh, that other robot should be in a zoo or something. And the female robot says something like, well, you know what? That one has a right to live, even if it's a different color.
Great integrated circuits. What's that thing? Look, Tilly, a prehistoric cave robot.
I've never seen anything so ugly.
I come bearing cat piss.
And you're like, what?
And like that was supposed to be the big moment of like, see, we're not racist. Like,
see that?
Or to be kept in zoos.
Now, Till, that's just prejudice. He has as much right to activate as we have, even if his skin is a different color.
Best riffer, the actual best like live just riffer in the entire cast was Jennifer, by hands down. Jennifer could get a script and every single line is hilarious. Like,
They stole this from Doctor Who versus the Daleks.
my favorite jokes, and I thought I'd missed it, and then I was like, did I miss it? And then it came up. I'm like, yes.
How about you, audience? What would your plan be?
I love that. Because he looks straight at the camera and like, what would you do at a time like this? Type of thing.
I liked how all the enemy soldiers looked like Prince Adam.
Yeah. Prince Adam, no.
It's funny when it says something about the movie when you're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. And when it does make sense, your default position is that it doesn't make sense.
Help! Help! They got me! I think I'm dying!
Daughter or niece of this professor, how her only job is to just aimlessly wander around.
What's that her doing?
What's my motivation for walking behind this chair?
Base GA, they've managed to discover that the alien vessel...
Secret power is that he can open his liquor cabinet.
Open for me, booze safe.
Right? That's all he ever did. Yeah, I was blown away by that. Like, you've got laser eyes, like mind-bending laser eyes, and you just open your liquor cabinet like 2 or 3 times. That's it.
What are the rest of us supposed to do?
Go play threes in the other room or something.
This movie was the one where I learned from a writing perspective to focus on visual jokes. Some of those like real dialogue-driven jokes don't work so well. And so this one, I focused a lot on visuals. As a matter of fact, I think I might have even watched it twice, once just muted, just to do visual jokes.
Yeah,
I wonder if that would be better.
Than I have in some of the other stuff.
It was like he does interior design with something like beheaded board games like that. You know, I really like that one. Yeah. And then alternating post-it notes and cheese squares. You know, great one. Lighting by Chiclets. I thought that was a great one too.
The dreidel joke I thought was hilarious.
Looked exactly like a stack of chiclets. There was a whole bunch of those that I thought were fantastic. That just like, well, let's mock the set because there was a lot there. It was fodder for mockery, which was great.
Ooh, I see my old toaster.
How can you tell it's yours?
Because I just claimed it.
And so I've seen this movie a couple times, and when he says that, I imagine him like finding that location and going out there, like kind of noting, okay, I know where that is. I'm gonna go there. You know, after the movie, I'm heading over there to get it. That's my old toaster. I just claimed it.
Quick, we gotta go after her and the fighters. To the base.
I'm starting to believe an 8-year-old wrote this.
We have that bit where the movie just stops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oliver won't remember anything.
He just wants some more.
Always assuming that we managed to get away with show.
So we have all these strange, freaky dudes, but one of their names is Oliver.
What is going on?
And Jennifer has that great line of like,
why didn't they just edit this part out?
The hat is his own creation.
and what makes me love that was I sat back and went, we could edit this out.
Yeah. Like easily, like because it's the end of the scene and it stretches and then the next scene starts. So it'd be like an easy edit and then we didn't do it. And then we talk about why didn't they do it?
Who are any of these people? Where is this taking place? What is actually going on?
One of my favorite jokes, and it's mostly one of my favorite jokes because Jennifer's saying it, is when Jennifer's like, they're saying, oh, he's supposed to be Spider-Man. Oh, he's supposed to be Spider-Man.
No, that's Venom. Spider-Man had the red suit.
It's so great because Jennifer, anyone who knows Jennifer knows she knows nothing about any of that stuff. That's kind of like, I made a fort. No girls allowed.
This is the first time we've had James on screen, so the ties. Although I looked for it, I didn't.
I'd rather eat the crusty tops of pudding bowls off a corn cob left over from a hobo.
I'm just going to let that slide.
I don't think I noticed any problem with the ties in this episode.
Was the tie continuity okay in this one? Where
I think so.
He's like, bring the bagels, and he walks across the back. I was kind of hoping the tie would change right there, but I didn't rewind to see if it was wrong.
It would be so cool if this was just a giant maze with death traps.
That would be way too cool for this movie.
But I do think I'm on Jeff's side on that being stewards of these. I mean, the person brought that film, beginning, middle to end, cast, props, sets, tons and tons of sets, the robot design, and then finished it up. Yeah, the robot design. I love. Somebody said.
I really thought dipping the Teletubbies in metal would stop them from moving.
So that there was some labor of love at some point in there, and I think this would fall into obscurity if we didn't bring this kind of stuff to light. And I do like Jeff's idea of changing the genre. It was meant to be comedic on some level, but it was meant to be like a grand sci-fi space fantasy thing, and we just turned it into a straight send-up comedy.
Meanwhile, the guy in the back has completely lost his mind.
Freaking out. He's like doing his little pedal kicks in the background.
Oh yeah, just lost his mind. Yeah,
he's lost his mind.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Meanwhile, the guy in the back is completely lost his mind.
You look back there, and the guy's just like bicycle kicking back there. Like, nuts.
The prequel to Dirty Dancing is really weird.
It's almost like he doesn't know they're rolling, and he's just like.
The camera came forward. It goes back, and then it goes back to the robots, and the robots saying things.
Listen, Billy. I've written a poem for you. Want to hear it?
No.
It's called Passion in a Printed Circuit.
Thank you, film editor.
And we're like, no. And it cuts. And it was Jeff like, thank you, editor. Thanks.
That's right. They did something right for us.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stop asking what's happening at this point.
Right before the Teletubbies lines is actually one of my favorite lines, which is,
"Don't touch that! You'll get channel 62."
Yeah, I like that.
I wish I could do that with Scarlett Johansson.
Was that you? Was that you? Was that your line? Or whose line was that?
Well, I think Jennifer says it.
Juliet's like, I had nothing to do with this.
Who wrote it?
That moon reminds me of the time when you and I used to coo like doves the way Tilt and Tilly are doing right now.
You say that every 4 seconds.
Okay, forget it.
This movie has, I think, our best example of not making a joke was when when they all come out of the elevator and it was totally all dramatic and da 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 da, and then the flip dude just flips. He's like, ah!
Well, that was easy.
And then and there's just this gap, and none of us say anything.
Surprise!
Me.
Yeah.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
I like that one.
So subtle,
M
like
comes
you
in
have
and then
to
E
really
comes
pay
in.
attention.
Yeah, and if we don't say me now, I'm gonna be pissed. And then it's like me.
I think he's just on the toilet.
Like, I'm confused. Why is that woman not wearing pants? And then Wyatt, of all people.
Keep your chin up, Bridget.
I was so happy. I thought we'd done it at last.
My focus is torn.
Or something like that.
Let's just keep doing this.
And then I had running mustache jokes.
And grease them by disintegrating their fat.
Rank is dictated by mustache. Fact.
Yes. No, I did the mustache jokes. I did the mustache jokes because when the two characters came in, they had very distinct mustaches on.
And crossfire now underway. The object has
He's got a mustache. You know he's important.
And this idea of this hierarchy being based on mustaches was just hilarious to me.
and of course the guy comes in and he is the most ridiculous
He's got the upside down one that's going up his nose.
Down.
What?
Who rotated my mustaches?
And one of my favorite lines is, it would be great if it like turned upside down when he's frowning. It's got this like overly. He's like, oh.
Impossible. This is red emergency all sectors. Zeta 3 ready to open up.
At that velocity, they're already beyond sections 8 of 3.
His eyebrows match his mustache.
At one point, one of the characters says something like,
My uncle says nobody can fight like you can.
nobody fights like he does. You know, as if that's great. And then it's Tom that said, like,
Nobody can fight like I can either, but that doesn't mean I'm winning.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
That's one of my favorites.
That was a good line.
Uncle.
Polo.
Uncle.
Polo.
But like the circus thing, when I do the circus noises, when the people are coming up and down the thing.
Yeah.
Puts him about 2 centuries ahead of everyone else.
Why isn't he working with us?
It
so
keeps coming
ridiculous
back.
because it's clearly just people being, just being like, okay, now you walk. They're not doing anything. They're just like walking up and down.
At the moment, the only person he might listen to is a young Lieutenant Oliver Carrera.
Holly. Onk the Cat, I think it was something. So.
Onk the Cat.
That's me butt dialing Jeff. My like voice to text was on, and then sent him that. So my butt just out of the blue sent Jeff Onk the Cat, and
the best was I was asking him a question. I don't remember what it was, but I actually texted him a question, and then what I got back was Oink's the Cat.
Yeah. So by the time I picked up my phone, this whole conversation had taken place without me, and I'm like, oh. And that became a line in the movie.
I said, I'm going to give this as a P line.
It just says it with all the diction in the world.
Onk the Cat.